Hi, everybody, and welcome to Locked On Brewers. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. Yeah, the Brewers took 2 of 3 in Chicago, and as bad as that first game looked, hey, I'll take 2 of 3 anytime against anybody. And the Brewers got the job done today. We'll talk about that. Opening day is Monday. We'll get your opening day memories as we preview the Brewers and Mets coming up. All that next on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, it's great to be back in the Freeman Studios after spending the weekend in Menominee, Michigan. And my kid had a hockey tournament up there, got my locked in on Saturday night, and that was all good. Again, we're going to be doing these 7 days a week. I was wondering how it would be, the feedback if I did weekends ones, because, technically we're only supposed to do Sunday through Thursday. I thought with baseball being an everyday deal, we got to do these on weekends as well for Friday night and Saturday games. And I know people are busy and, they may not have a chance to view the podcast or the video or or listen to the audio on your podcast provider. But the feedback was good and the downloads were good. So I think we're going to keep on doing that on weekends. So I was a little tester on Saturday night, got it in after the first game of that Final Four. And of course, when the Brewers win, it was a very happy podcast like yesterday. Download the Gametime app. The Gametime app, create an account and use the Locked On MLB code for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. That is the Gametime app. Create an account today. Again, go to Locked On MLB for $20 off. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. I'm Chuck Freeman. I cover the Brewers for WIBA Radio in Madison, do the morning sports there. Longtime sportscaster in the Milwaukee area, various talk shows as well. And I cover the Brewers for AP Radio. So I've been doing it since the early 80s, doing it a long, long time. The Brewers are my favorite sports team, and I take it they're probably yours too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be tuning here on the Locked On Brewers. And you know what? Great win today. Fantastic win. We are with you every day on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And the Brewers score the win. It got so, I mean, we knew there are certain times in the game when, the Brewers are going to win or they're going to lose a game. And when they put up that big inning, the 5-run sixth, that was game, set, match right there. And they go on to the 9-5 victory. So many great things came out of this weekend. So many things. I think we've learned, number one, Bryce Turang is here to stay. When they traded away Colton Wong, and I liked, after Wong's first year with the Brewers, I was like, man, we should sign this guy to a long-term deal. Well, they traded him because they had Bryce Turang. They knew what they had in Turang, a guy who's got some speed, a guy who's got some glove. Now could he hit? And he had 2 hits, clutch hits on Sunday. And and I think it's just a matter of time before Bryce Turang isn't that maybe I shouldn't jinx him. Isn't that everyday lineup as a leadoff hitter? Maybe our future leadoff hitter. That speed, it was the way he flew down first base today. I was like, man, that guy's got leadoff speed. But you know what? We need to pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Let him get acclimated. It's tough for a rookie. He says he's gonna be a little nervous for opening day on Monday, but he showed anything but nerves. And his defensive range and the way he gloved, he was like a 10-year pro out there. And that was great to see. So that was obviously a terrific decision. Let's give it a little longer rope because we've jumped all in on some of these guys in the past, Keston Hiura, and had to blow up in our face. Not me necessarily, but other people have. Well, yeah, I didn't think Keston Hiura would be in the minor leagues at the age of 26, but no pressure on Turang. He was great this weekend. And they're throwing him right in there, just like they are Joey Wiemer. He had a nice weekend as well. Made some nice plays in right in center field over the weekend. But here's the deal. When you play the young guys, you have to develop players. If you go with an all-veteran lineup and you go with all veterans and you get some retreads in there, your young guys are never going to get any experience. The future of this team is guys like that right there. Those 2 guys. So while you still want to win, you still want to be able to develop. And that's what Craig is doing right now. And that's what Matt Arnold wants to do. They want to develop these guys, and I'm all on board with it because these guys are more than ready to step in and play major league roles. Now, I mean, these guys can be all-stars. Who knows? But the early returns, the very, very early returns on this is they're going to be nice additions to the roster so far this year, but there is no pressure on these guys to perform because so far they're doing good. You know, with Terang, they're adding some team speed too. With both of these guys, with Weimer and Terang, both those guys can let at the base paths. And you got Yelich out there who can run like the wind. Good things. Jesse Winker cannot run like the wind. He shouldn't have been stretching that single into a double with no outs. Yelich was on third, and yeah, he can't be doing that. He knows that. He's a veteran player, but I think he thought that he was going to be in handily at second base. If you're going to take second on that, you better make sure you're in there. But he got thrown out. Still, the Brewers went on to win. He made up for it. He had that 2-run single in the 6th inning, and got the job done. Another play would disturb me. Mitchell getting thrown at home on a contact play, no outs, and they ran that contact play. He was an easy dead duck at home play. Lauer, he was fantastic case for Lauer, and he's one of those guys too. As we get deeper into the rotation, well, except for Freddie DeMar, with guys like that, it's what are you going to get from them? What are we going to get from that guy today? And Lauer, we got good Eric Lauer, battled through some early trouble. Gave up that home run, but battled through it. And, that was terrific. I thought the pitching was fantastic all weekend long. ERA, I believe, in the mid-3s for this weekend. And you're certainly going to take that. One thing I was doing when I was at my kids' hockey tournament, and I'm sorry, I got to take these glasses off and on. I hope that's not distraction because when I got to read something, I can't see when up close here with my contacts in. So I got to wear these things. Watching a game on iPad, and I got the MLB package and all that, and I'm trying to watch the Brewers game on Bally Sports. And Saturday was fantastic. I'm between games, and I'm at my kids' hockey tournament. I went to a bar, and then I came back later on in the innings, and I'm watching it on the Bally app, and it's fantastic. No stoppages, no glitches at all. And then there came today, and today made me realize, we're not there yet on watching games on video because the internet is at some places isn't strong to handle it. I was watching and I was glitch after glitch. Every 10 minutes, the video would freeze and just go crazy on me. And I would have to reset it. So I did that about 5-10 times today, resetting the app on to watch the Brewers game. So I'm at this. It's amazing how it worked on Saturday in this little auditorium I was in. And then on Sunday, when I was trying to watch the game up in Marinette, Wisconsin, we had some problems watching it, but saw the hits, saw most of the game. I just had to reset it a few times, but we are not there yet on watching games on phones and iPads just yet on wireless because wireless is just not strong in some places. And, some places of Wisconsin, you can go, if you're going to sit outside, you're going to drive, you're in your car, you cannot get any Wi-Fi or you cannot get any cell phone service, maybe Wi-Fi too, but cell phone service you can't get. I went to one place on the way up to Wausau last weekend. We went to a bar and they said they couldn't. There was no cell phone service out there. There was no internet service out there. So they had no ATM or they had no, I couldn't use my credit card. So I had to pay in cash because the service was terrible out there. So 2023, you would think that we're ahead of the game on that, but we still got a long ways to go. Anyway, off on that. Who's going to kill the Brewers this year? Dansby Swanson going to the Cubs this year, man. He was like their only bright spot of the weekend. But, we can live with that. But it seemed like that guy got a base hit every time he came to the plate today. But you know what? That's fine. He had his hits, but the Brewers won their game. They took 2 of 3 in the series. Pro Baseball GM is the coolest game I played in a long time. You got to download this app. If you wanted to ever be a baseball GM, an MLB GM, you get a little glimpse of how it's like if you download this app and play it. Pro Baseball GM. The game allows you to manage every strategic aspect of a franchise, playing through seasons, leading your franchise and fans to glory as you build a historic dynasty in the simulation you're responsible for. You hire the coaches, the staff, manage the financing, manage difficult personalities, which I've always said is going to be the toughest part about being a GM, managing the whole franchise and every personality, including guys in the front office that might be a pain in the rear end. Navigate your franchise through free agency ups and downs of the season. All this in a challenging, realistic game world. Ultimate GM, completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want and when you want. Now, you can download it, and good thing here is you don't need Wi-Fi to play. You're competing with other Locked On MLB hosts as well. And right now, you get a 100% free boost to your franchise, when you use the Locked On in the game store, when you use Locked On in the game store. So make sure to check it out. Download. Just visit probaseballgm.com, scan the code, look it up in the app stores. That's probaseballgm.com. Ultimate Baseball GM. Start your dynasty today. And again, the 100 free boost for your franchise when you use the promo code Locked On in the game store. All right, back at the game here. Locked On Brewers. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. Good to have you along here and on the show that's going to drop on Sunday night and Monday morning with opening day coming up. So let's, before we get to opening day, let's run down to see how some of the guys did today offensively. And I thought, we were kind of worried through the first two games of the series, where's the offense? But just like the Brewers, they'll go through a little cold stretch and bam, 9 runs today. And it was feasting there in the 6th inning for these guys. And it started a little bit toward the end of the game on Saturday when they scored the 3 runs in the 8th inning. But I thought a lot of positives. I talked about the young guys, Jesse Winker having 2 hits today and driving in the 3 runs. Christian Yelich, I thought the last 2 games of this series, now he had a bad first game, but I thought the last 2 games we're seeing, again, let's temper this a little bit, but Yelich having some hard contact, even hard contact foul balls over the last couple of days, which I'll take. But Yelly went 2 for 5 today. He walked once, he did strike out, and he scored twice. You'll take that. I mean, I had an okay series. We're expecting a lot out of him. We want a lot out of him, but I saw some good at-bats the last 2 games from Yelich. Really good at-bats. So we'll take that. Winker, I said, he batted the 2-hole. He went 2 for 3. Adames went 1 for 4. He had a 2-run single. He also struck out twice. Off to a little tough start, but that's okay. Rowdy Tellez got his first base hit of the spring, a little Texas League swing to left field for a base hit. Also scored a run. Rowdy was 0 for 91 for the weekend series. Brian Anderson, it's going to be interesting to see. They're going to move him all around the place, I think. He went 1 for 3 today. He had a nice weekend series. He batted 375 for the weekend. Garrett Mitchell went 2 for 5, drove in 2 runs, 2 strikeouts, defended out there in center field. Victor Caratini made the start at catcher today. He went 1 for 5. Bryce Terang, as I mentioned at the top, 2 for 3, and also walked a couple of times. Terang hit 429 in the 3-game series. And Weimer went 1 for 5, and he struck out a couple of times and a run. Now, the pitching. The pitching was great again today. All 3 games of this series, I thought the pitching was fantastic. Even Corbin Burns, he gave up that 1 bad inning, the 4-run 3rd inning on Thursday, but I still, they score him some runs, and you're not even thinking about that. Eric Lauer, 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs on 89 pitches. He gets the win. You will take that every day from Eric Lauer, the first starter to get a win this season. Who would have guessed it would have come off the arm of Eric Lauer? I'll take that. Let's see here. Who else? Joel Payamps got into the game in a blowout inning and 2/3. He wasn't great. He had 2 hits and 1 earned run. Guerra got in again. He struggled a little bit. He gave him hit. 2 earned runs on 2 hits. Hobie Miller, we saw him, his first bit of action, 2/3 of an inning, didn't give up a hit. And Gus Varlin pitched that last inning. He mopped up and got the hit and gave up a hit. And, the bottom line in this game, no home runs. In fact, no home runs in the 3-game series for the Brewers rare, but I'm okay with that. Now, no home runs. I mean, they were just that inning, that sixth inning was fun to watch. They were nickel and diming the Cubs all over the place, and they're putting runs on the board. I don't care if you don't hit any home runs. And I know baseball wants wait for the 2 and 3 run home run. And this team, we're waiting for the 2 or 3 run dinger from Rowdy. But, the Brewers found ways to win the last couple of days. The 8th inning rally on Saturday, the big inning on Sunday. So I'll definitely take that. And I thought it was a great weekend series for these guys. So 2 of 3. Come home for a little homestand now against those St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cardinals won on Sunday, 4-1, as I recall, beating Toronto. Yeah, they took 2 of 3 of that series with the Jays after losing the opener. And, so they took 2 of 3 of that series. The Mets, they took 3 of 4 from Florida. They had a real good weekend series as well. Winning the last 2 games, that series lost on Friday night, but the Mets come here and there's high expectations for the Mets, really high expectations. The Mets are, going to pick to be one of the best teams in baseball this year. And they have a 3-game series. We start off with the Mets for the first time this year. Carlos Carrasco is going to be on the hill for the Mets. Freddie gets to start for the Brewers, and that's going to be great. Fastball Freddie making the opening day start. I see the Brewers are a slight favorite going into this game. All right. Locked On Brewers. Listeners right now, Locked On Brewers, you got to, if you work out like I do, and right now my working out days have hit the skids here in the last several weeks, and I got to get back on track. I saw it's the 1st of April, but I got to get back on track again. But energy bars are always important in that. And the Built Bar is something that you want to start your day off, or start your workout with. And trust me, having a nice protein bar before you work out is a great way to start. The Built March Madness bracket is here. And if you have a favorite bar or puff, and now's the time to make it count, go to BuiltMarchMadness.com and vote for your favorites today. The Built Bar is outstanding. You can have a chance to win a 12-month subscription to Built and have a whole year's worth of their bars or puffs delivered straight to your door every month. You got to try the Built Bar. Tried one the other day, tried 2 of them the other day, and the best protein bar ever. I'm telling you, they taste good, they give you energy, and they are amazing. And bottom line is they are good for you, especially for you guys out there who work out. What makes Built Bars and Puffs so good? Well, for starters, they're high in protein, low in sugar, covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, 100% real chocolate. Try Built Bar and Puffs. And once again, that is finishing up here. The March Madness bracket, you need to go to that right now and find your favorite bar, BuiltMarchMadness.com. And again, you have a chance to win a year supply of Built Bars. All right, opening day. I was telling you about opening day, and what is it, the 54th opening day in Brewer history? I guess, yeah. Been doing it since 1970. I've been to every opening day, except I skipped the COVID year, but that doesn't count. 2020, I did not go. I didn't go to one Brewer game, did not cover one game at the ballpark. That was not baseball to me. To me, 2020, forget about anything. They just got to clear the stats out from 2020, because to me, that was an irrelevant season. And if there's no fans at the game, it doesn't count, in my opinion. So scratch that off, the 20 season. So I've been to a lot of great opening days, and my favorite opening day, 1980, Sixto Lizcano going yard oppo, a grand slam, I believe, against the Boston Red Sox. I was 12 years old. 13. I was 13. Boston Red Sox, and they beat the Red Sox on opening day, and Bambi's Bombers came up with a win. Sixto, who later would get traded in that Raleigh Fingers deal back in 1982, in 82. But Sixto was the hero. Boy, Sixto had a gun out in right field, man. He, to me, one of the all-time great right fielders in Brewer history. Man, that gun, he could throw out anybody from right field. I mean, on sac flies, guys trying to score from second. Sixto was the man. believe he's still living. He was at a ball game several years ago. I don't remember what it was, but he looked great. Sixto Lizcano. 1980, my favorite all-time opening day. All right. And I asked you out there, I asked you on Twitter, what are your favorite opening days? Ryan writes, 2019, Lorenzo Cain makes the catch over the wall to beat the Cardinals. Not today, says Cain. We all remember that. Craig says, the Sixto Grand Slam at County Stadium in 1980. Yeah, I think they did a vote. And not everybody was around in 1980. I get that. But the Sixto Grand Slam, if you put all the highlights together of all the games, people would vote for the 80 Sixto. Go to YouTube, not now, but go to YouTube after I'm done and see the Sixto Grand Slam. It's on there. I know it is. Zach writes, the inaugural opening day at Miller Park in 2001. Yeah, that was special too. I was 11. I remember seeing the president throw out the first pitch. My dad and I were there with my grandfather, who attended his first Braves game, at County Stadium when he was in high school. Very special memory for me. Of course, you know what's special about that? You were with your grandfather and you were with your dad, Zach Neal. You were with both of them on opening day. That's what makes that special. And the fact that your grandfather was at opening day for the Braves at County Stadium in the early 50s, that is fantastic as well. Jimmy writes, not today, Locaine. Absolutely. Opening day, Ben says, opening day 2007, although heavily intoxicated, I was able to recognize Sheets' performance that day. He had one of the best performances I've seen in my life. He set down 22 batters in a row. Wish I had better seats. Ryan writes, number one was in the right field bleachers in 2019 when Cain robbed the home run. We couldn't see the catch, but we knew by the crowd reaction. Number two was in the very last row of Bernie's bleachers in 2010, maybe the worst seat in the house, but watching the first game that year with my dad was an amazing. Ryan, another one. Yep. Your dad going to a baseball game. That's a fun place to be. That is fun. No question. Yeah, those are, and again, mine was 1980. But the Brewers start a series with the Mets. The Mets coming up for a 3-game series, off day Thursday, and then the St. Louis Cardinals to wind up the weekend series. And isn't it great that that we got baseball in April, and 1980, it was a cold day, as I remember. Because my dad would pick me up from school for opening day. I mean, I went to Our Father's Lutheran in Greenfield. You know, mom would write an excuse in the morning, like I got a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment. And it so happens it would always coincide with opening day. So dad would pick me up at about 11 o'clock. I'd still have to go to half a day of school for some reason. So my dad would pick me outside at 11 o'clock. Everybody knew where I was going. My parents would say, oh, don't tell anybody, but come on, everybody knew. And I went to opening day. So I had that streak going when I was a kid, but I was going to every opening day. It was fantastic as a kid. That's going to do it. Okay. The Brewers and Mets, first of 3 against the Mets coming up Monday, and we'll have another full edition of Locked On Brewers. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining me. And of course, if you want to know more about fantasy baseball, your first listen should be Locked On Brewers. Your second listen should be Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Win your league by listening to Matt and Dom every day as they bring you the best fantasy draft strategies. Find Locked On Fantasy Baseball wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, that's going to do it. Have yourself a great rest of your weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you after the game coming up on Monday night.